Welcome back to BNG Hockey, where it's always black and gold. This is an interesting topic, and depending on what source you believe, it looks like the Bruins are one of 4 to 7 NHL teams who are inquiring about playing their home games next season outdoors. Let's talk about it. I feel like I should start off by saying these NHL teams are getting a little bit ahead of themselves here. The NHL doesn't even have a concrete start date right now. That January 1st date that's being thrown around was really just wishful thinking by the league, and as we go here with each day, it's looking more and more like they're going to start long after that initial goal of January 1st. So I will say that even if there's going to be a season for these teams to play, there's a lot that has to get done before they worry about playing indoors or outdoors. But the reason that this is even a conversation is the NHL is really in desperate need of fans at games. Some of these bigger leagues like the NFL, the MLB, and the NBA have really rich owners and are really big leagues with lots of money. Now, obviously, NHL owners are rich as well, and the NHL is a profitable business, but it's nowhere near some of those other businesses, and they cannot take a hit of having a shortened season with no fans at games. So it's really important that if they can, and if it's safe to do so, and they can figure out a plan, they want to have ticket sales. They want to have fans in seats to go along with the money they make off of TV. And it might be safer to have fans at games if it is in an outdoor setting. So I know that all of these teams are looking at that solely because they want to be able to have fans in attendance. And that's when we get to the venues. The Bruins have been lucky enough to take part in multiple outdoor games. 2 of them we got to host right here in Massachusetts, one at Gillette Stadium and one at Fenway Park. Now, Fenway Park is looking like the main target of the Bruins right now if they're going to play outdoors, but I think it makes a little more sense to play at a place like Gillette. I remember going to the alumni game before the Winter Classic there, and it just made more sense looking down in a stadium setting at the hockey rink than it does looking at it in the center of a baseball diamond. If you've ever been to Fenway Park, you know there's some weird seats where you're stuck in a corner or behind a pole, and it's hard enough to watch baseball, never mind watching hockey in the center of the diamond. So I think from a fan's perspective, I would rather buy tickets to a hockey game at Gillette Stadium than I would Fenway Park, but I'd be happy to get tickets to any game at all at this point in 2020. But I do find it highly unlikely because not only do the Bruins have to get permission from the NHL, they have to get permission from the city of Boston as well as the state of Massachusetts. And if you know anything about Massachusetts and all of the US right now, but especially here, we're trying to avoid large groups of people, especially in close proximity to each other. And fans at a sporting event is one of the last things that they are looking to bring back. The Patriots have not had fans at their games the entire season, and it's already confirmed that there will not be fans the rest of the season. The Red Sox didn't have any fans when they were playing, and it's looking more and more like the Celtics will not have fans when they start up later this month. So I will say it might not even get off the ground because it might be squashed by their own state. But if somehow they're able to convince the state of Massachusetts to let them have fans and to play outdoors, then they have to deal with the league. And I find it highly unlikely that a league that is looking to save money and not spend money is going to want to roll out more dough to play in outdoor venues. It would cost them a little bit more than it would playing in their normal indoor arenas. Having to deal with setting up the ice, figuring out how to get the players there, transportation, working with the camera crews, the TV crews, where to put fans. It could be a big mess. But I will say there are some really nice spots if they want to pull this off in Boston. You could go to Fenway Park. You could go to the Boston Commons. You could have them play outside at Harvard. And obviously you have Gillette Stadium, which isn't in Boston, but that's also a nice space as well, and you could keep players in hotels near there. So I do think if it's going to happen, there's definitely some spots that they could pull it off, but I find it highly unlikely that they get permission from Boston, from Massachusetts, and from the NHL. Now there's one last thing that I want to talk about. Let's say it gets approved by everyone, and the Bruins are playing their home games outdoors this season. I don't know if I love that. Now, I will say, anything that brings back hockey and brings back my Bruins, I am all in for. And I'd be happy that fans could go, I'd be happy that the league is making money, and I'd just be happy to have a season at this point. but I will say I am a little bit worried about the outdoor conditions. That's always a problem, whether or not it's too hot, whether it's raining and they have to clear the ice, or it snowed on the ice and they can't figure that out. I will never forget, I was watching a behind-the-scenes thing on the Bruins before one of the Winter Classics, and the players were coming out. It's a beautiful venue. They're all talking about how cool it's going to be, and Tuukka Rask is sitting there looking at the sun. How am I supposed to stop a puck? I do not want to hear excuses from guys like Tuukka Rask after a loss that he let in a goal because a bird flew by or the sun was in his eyes. I get enough of that from the indoor rinks. I don't want excuses. I don't want the outdoor rink to be a factor. Win or lose for the Bruins, I should say. I don't want it to be a competitive disadvantage or advantage for my team. I want it to be about the roster and the skill that we have and how we're playing. I don't want games to be won or lost because of an outdoor rink, and I don't love that they would have to play some games indoors, some games outdoors, depending on the venue. But all in all, if I get Bruins hockey back and they're able to have a season and this is the only way, I'll take it. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think Massachusetts will approve it? Do you think the NHL will approve it? If it does get approved, where do you think they should play? Is there an advantage or a disadvantage if the Bruins play outside and some other teams play indoors? Leave all that down below in the comments. I just did 2 collaborations with 2 other YouTubers. I did one with Top Shelf Hockey as well as Hands Down Hockey. Those are in my collaborations playlist here on the channel, or you can go check them out on those channels. Definitely do that if you haven't watched it already. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big like, and we're getting really close to 1,000 subs, so if you haven't already, subscribe.